us a little about yourself.
Yeah, hi, my name is Vishal Kumar Singh. I'm an advocate practicing in the Patna High Court. I'm associated with HRLM since 2019 and I'm a pass out from Central University of South Bihar, Gaya. And I'm basically from Bihar itself. So all my entire studies and career has been focused on the Bihar, in the Bihar state itself. So I have been associated with HRLM since 2015 if you look at my internship and all. So I have been working here and I have also volunteered for long. I was working in Gaya district of Bihar, that is a very Naxal prone district. So I was working over there. So I got associated with HRLN as well while working on the cases and all. So I have been like associated since 2015 itself when I was a law student in the second year, and then I passed out and then I joined HRLN formally as an advocate.
Can you tell me something about the nature of the work that you do currently?
Yeah, basically in HRLN, I'm looking after the cases of prison rights and also the cases of students' rights and the cases of bonded labor. So on these three issues I have worked so far. In the cases of prison rights, to be specific, I am working on the issues of under trial prisoners, and I'm also a member of the Patna High Court Legal Services Committee, so I have an access to the jails. Like I used to do prison visit every Saturday. Every Saturday I go to the prisons, and in that we meet the under trial prisoners, the prisoners who have been languishing in prison for around 10 years, 5 years, and they are still under trial. Their trial has not been concluded, their sentence has not been given. For example, there is one prisoner, his trial got concluded in 2017 itself, but still the sentence is to be pronounced. So, and he was languishing in prison since 2005. So around for 12 years he was in prison. So we filed his bail petition, and he is right now out on bail. And apart from that, my main focus in the prison right cases is that to get those prisoners released who are not getting any kind of legal aid facility by the District Legal Services Authority or by any other committee. For example, in such cases, what I do is like I try to get the prisoner out on the bail, get released on the bail on the PR bond. Now, this PR bond is personal recognizance bond. You don't have to pay any kind of surety, and for that purpose, we attach a letter from the Legal Services Committee. And apart from that, we also include a para in the petition itself that such and such case is being filed by the legal aid center, so that petition is allowed, or whatever the procedure is that goes on. So that is the strategy. Apart from that, we also focus on the prisoners who are juveniles. For example, in many cases we have seen that in the FIR, the age of the prisoner, age of the accused is increased to 18 and above, so that they can directly be sent to the prisons, main prisons, not the juvenile justice court. So in such circumstances, if I identify such prisoners during my visits, then I call them, I just ask them that what is their age. So first of all, they are very hesitant to tell that they are not below 18 or anything, because the authorities have said them that if you will say that you are above 18, the law will be more relaxing. But the case is just the paradoxical situation is there. So I have filed around 3 cases in the juvenile as well to transfer that matter to the juvenile. And in one of such cases, I had got all the documents and everything from the family of that particular boy. So it was easier to get that person declared only that he is below 18 years of age. Now in that particular case, I will tell you that is a very interesting case. In that particular case, what happened is that the age of the boy at the time of the incident that was related to a theft case was 17 years, 11 months and 12 days. So it was just 18 days left for his 18th birthday. Now what I did was, when I filed this petition, the judge asked me that you are coming to the court, Mr. Counsel, just for the 18 days. I said that even if he was 1 day above 18, the authorities could have been more harsh in such circumstances. So yes, I am coming for 18 days. Now that matter got transferred to the JJB. In the JJB, I applied through NIOS for that boy, and that boy is right now pursuing his matriculation in the Juvenile Justice Board itself. So I guess, and after that we have also filed a petition under 482, section 482 before the Honorable High Court, so that the case can be quashed. Apart from that, in two other cases I identified in which there was no document available with the boy, and those boys didn't belong to Patna or any nearby district, so that I could visit the family and get the documents. And apart from that, the prisoners who are languishing in prisons are basically those who are left by their family members. They are deserted. Basically, they are deserted. They have no identity. So in such circumstances, I called up an officer from the Juvenile Justice Secretariat of the Honorable Patna High Court, and he told me that you just write one para that applies section 94 clause 3 of the Juvenile Justice Act 2015, which particularly says that even if there is no document, you can just move this particular petition and apply for the transfer petition, that this particular petition shall be transferred to the Juvenile Justice Board. So we have done that. In that petition, what I did was that I also demanded that medical examination should be done to verify the age. That if you think that I am lying, then the magistrate can inquire upon this and take a medical examination or conduct the medical examination. But in that case, the magistrate simply said that okay, I will verify it through video conferencing. I don't know whether he appeared or not, but yes, the matter was transferred to the JJB. There are two more cases which are pending in the juvenile. Apart from juveniles, we are also working on the HIV/AIDS patients who are languishing in jail. So one day what I did was that I visited the jail hospital that is inside the compound of particular jail. So in that I got the list of the prisoners who are affected to HIV positive, who are HIV patients. So I have filed 2 bails of the women who are HIV positive, and one of them has got bail and one is still pending before the district judge. I hope that she will also get bail. And apart from that, there are prisoners who are old and deserted by the family. Now there was one more case, one more interesting case I will tell you. Patna police arrested a woman under the charges of prostitution for carrying 3 condoms with her in the middle of the night. And the sections which were charged against her were Immoral Trafficking Act as well as the IPC. Now, even the judge was surprised that why have you arrested? And in that particular case, I have raised a question. The informant was an ASI, Assistant Sub Inspector of a particular police station. So I just raised a simple question to the prosecution that if you are opposing this bail on the ground that she is doing certain illegal kind of activity, she is doing prostitution or anything and disturbing the public peace, morality, whatever. So I asked a very simple question to the prosecution that why you have not arrested the customer? Just because the customer could pay the bribe, he was free. And just because she could not pay the bribe, you have found 3 condoms with her and you have put her in jail. And she has been languishing in jail for around 8 months. And now I have got her bailed out. So that is the kind of work I am doing in the prisons. Apart from that, talking about the student rights. So I have good contacts in the students union and all. And I filed a petition, PIL, on that was CUSB Alumni Association versus Central University of South Bihar. So that was regarding the mess and hostel fee, waiving of the mess and hostel fee during the period of pandemic. And in that particular petition, the students got the relief, and that order has been passed, and the PIL has also been disposed. So we have got the order that the university cannot charge the fee during the time it was closed. So these are the issues.
So now we have an understanding of what you do. We are now very interested in knowing why you do it. I like to believe that we are all the sum total of our experiences. What can you tell us? Can you shed some light on your experiences that drove you, that motivated you to do the kind of work that you do?
Yeah, exactly. When I interned in HRL in Patna for the first time in 2015, I also attended an AGM in the Panchgani, Maharashtra, yes. So there we were trained, we were lectured, and that motivated me. And again in 2016, I was appointed as the student coordinator of the legal aid committee of my college, through which I started going to the DLSA, meeting with the DLSA people, and started providing legal aid. Whatever legal aid I could provide, I drafted the petition. Just because I was not enrolled as an advocate, I could not appear. Rest of the work I did. So during that period only, I got interested in the prison rights issues. In 2018, that was my first prison visit in the Gaya Central Jail. So there are total 8 central jails. So I have visited all of them. So in that particular visit, I realized that there is a need of intervention in such circumstances. We cannot leave this issue directly to the DLSA or any other committee per se. So I felt that there was a felt need that there is a need of direct intervention in these cases. So I started working with the HR2. So that was a driving motivating factor.
And finally, I would like to end on this note. All I want to know is that why don't you tell me one or two people or the names of some books that you could recommend to our listeners that have motivated you, that have shaped you, that you think people might learn from or take inspiration from? Any person or any book?
I'll tell you. When I joined HRLN in June 2019, I came across a book called Kaliyug, that is written by our founder, Colin Gonzalez himself. So that is the entire book. If you read that particular book, so you will get to know that what kind of repercussions, repressions, and the state atrocity and the violence that has been there in the field of human rights, and why there is a need of human rights advocacy, and what change the courts can bring. Apart from that book, I have also read the the life memoir of Nelson Mandela. That is also a very good book that I will recommend. But Kaliyug one must read. When one is working in the field of human rights, then Kaliyug should be read. Apart from that, I will say that many other books, like very recently I read a book by Abhinav Chandrachud, The Supreme Whispers. So that is about the courtroom things that happened in past and that is still happening, that how this judiciary is functioning. So I will recommend these books. Apart from that, there is one more book, The People's Constitution, by Robin Day. So one must read that particular book. The very first chapter is very related to the state of Bihar, that where the Bihar Excise and Prohibition Act is there. So the very first chapter. Right now I am reading that book, so I have not completed it, but the very first chapter talks about the Bombay Prohibition Act. That was during the time of 1948-49. So that is also a good book which I will recommend to our listeners.
All right. Thank you so much. Vishal.
Thank you.